Hi everyone, welcome to Adventures with Raven and Rowley. I'm Raven and this is Rowley. Last week I talked about going from sticks and bricks house to an RV to a converted cargo trailer, which we live in right now. This week I'll talk about being on the fence and what's keeping you from nomading or nomadism or becoming a nomad. For the past 5 months, we've been living full-time in our 6x12 cargo trailer. For the previous 5 years, we lived in an RV full-time, a Class A and then a fifth wheel. If you're curious, please join us on this journey and continue to watch. What's the biggest misconception about full-time nomad life? Well, there's a bunch of misconceptions, but I'm going to tell you the positives about them instead of the negatives, you know? Like, for instance, people say living on the road is a dream, as if that's a bad thing, you know? Who doesn't want to run away to the circus or something similar, equally crazy? And who doesn't dream about something outside of the norm? We all do, right? It's a matter of who goes for it and who doesn't. Are you on the Nomad Fence? I've also heard that it's only for retired people. Well, I got news. There's a lot of young people out here. Yeah, there's a lot of retired people too. But there's a lot of young people, and it's a joy to see these young people out here doing their thing, making their money how they're making it, and living free. You know, young people who are taking their lives in their own hands and doing good things with it. It's just terrific. So it's not just for this old farts like me, okay? I hear too that nomadism is really like a vacation, a permanent vacation. Well, yeah, I can feel like that sometimes when I look at the sky, or when I come out and see a terrific sunrise or a fabulous sunset. But it's really just living, you know, and noticing what's around you. I've heard too that it's a terrific way to save money. Well, anyway is a good way to save money, but it depends upon your lifestyle, you know, what you consider saving and what you consider spending, and, you know, how you deal with your budget, if you've got a budget, you know, that kind of stuff. Yes, you can save money. You can save a lot of money, at least I think so. For instance, right now I'm not paying any rent. Well, all of that money that I dropped into somebody else's pocket now stays in mine, you know, which is a terrific thing. I don't move around a lot. I don't move around at all, really. But you could be a nomad and go one place and stay for 2 weeks and drive someplace else and stay there for 2 weeks and travel back and forth across the country that way, see all kinds of things, and not really spend any money, you know. I've heard too that nomads are lonely. Well, I can say that some probably are, but then some probably are in every walk of life. But I don't think that nomads are any more lonely than anybody else, you know, because there are a lot of groups out here, you know, and they meet and they get together and they party and they have a great time, and you can find people who like your kind of music and whatever, you know, whatever it is you're into, and you can join and become part of a community or not. The point is that you get to choose. So Are you on the Nomad Fence? You know? Are you going to get out and do something? Or maybe it's not a nomad fence. It could be some other kind of fence. But get out and do. Anyway. How do you overcome your fears about this kind of thing? Well, I mean, all of us are really good at, you know, imagining the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen. And not so very good at imagining what the absolute best thing could possibly happen. I think we need to get more practice. You know? What should you do if you're on the fence about joining this nomad life? Well, if you're on the fence, that means you've been thinking about it a lot, you know? You've been watching a lot of videos. You've been at it, right? My thought is that you get as much information as you can and then pick a date and go for it. Take one step at a time. If something doesn't feel right, back out, you know? Get out of it. And keep your safety net if you can. But at the same time, keep moving forward, you know? Keep going for it. Going for it. You could do trials, you know, rent a van, sleep in your car, tape off your bedroom so that it's the size of a van that you've been wanting to get. Oops. Experiment. You are falling. You are falling. How's that? Is that better? Okay? Okay. And the last question is, can we really full-time in an RV or a car or a van or a school bus or an ambulance or a cargo trailer? Yes. Anyway, the Rowley report. Say hi, Rowley. Yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy. I went for a walk yesterday morning. I go for a walk every morning. I have to empty the pea pot, you know, so I make it into my daily walk. Anyway, we went for a walk yesterday morning, and Rowley took off like a bat out of hell. And he was going to go run down the road to bark at the people who were in the RV, who were at the entrance of this plateau, because they shouldn't be here, you know. Of course, nobody should be here, according to Rowley, you know. Anyway, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. So I called to him to come back. But he was so into, I'm going to go down that road and bark at those people. Mind you now, he's got to walk, you run a quarter of a mile to get to them, you know. But he's going to run down there and bark at these people. So I turned around. He wouldn't come. He turned around and I went in the opposite direction, figuring that he wouldn't see me on the road when he, you know, turned back to look, and he would come find me. He didn't come right away, which was surprising, you know. My next door neighbor, though, sent me a text later that said, I was waving to you to let you know that Rowley showed up at home when you weren't, when you were calling him. It was so funny. He could hear the voice, but he didn't know where you were. He ran around the house and then stopped. And he ran up the steps and looked at the closed door. And then he ran around the house again. He ran to the wash over there and back again. And he ran around again. He looked at me. She's way over there on the other side of the plateau. He looked at me and I pointed out, trying to show him the direction you were in. He was not barking. He wasn't barking at all, okay? Finally, during one of your calls, he got the direction and took off through the wash again towards you. He was almost out of breath by then. And she said, I heard him panting heavily. Finally saw his little body as a moving dot close to you. So, he's been hanging next to me ever since. He's been coming when I called ever since. So that was probably a good lesson. So anyway, thanks for watching and thanks for your support. I'll see you next Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Take care of you and yours, and blessed be.